We're back to the Neil Haley Show and also the Media Giant Effect, and I'm excited to welcome to the program actor Greg Grunberg. Greg, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you're not reading my mind, as I'm always going to bring that joke up, as I'm a huge Heroes nerd. And you know, that
I know, dude. You and I are old friends after all these years.
yeah,
I cannot
exactly.
thank you. Dude, you always say yes. You always support my causes and stuff. And I just want to start off by saying thank you. I love your show. You know that. But it's just great that once again you're helping me support my new series.
Exactly. And it's amazing to look at things, Greg, and what's new projects are coming up and all these things and where you've been in your career and where you thought you were going. And now, can you imagine like just how just things evolve from the beginning in your acting career till now?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I don't say no to anything. So I've got some stinkers as well that I've worked on, but I just love to work and I love to work with good people. And over the years, I've been really, really fortunate. You know, one job has led to another, led to another. And I've made friends with, people. And, Hollywood's like that. It's like you work with people and then you want to work with them again. But it really all comes down to the people. That the new show that I'm working on called the Caregiver series, it's like that. From the people I partner with at Jazz Pharmaceuticals to the people that I get to hang out with and interview. It's so great. I mean, you touched on it, but as you know, I'm a caregiver. Our oldest son, Jake, has epilepsy. He's a grown man, 26, but he's had this his whole life. And I've learned, my wife and I have learned and met the most wonderful people along the way that are caregivers. And so when Jazz said, hey, why don't we partner? Why don't we go out? You travel the country, meet these awesome people that are just like yourself, just doing their best to raise their child or their husband, their wife, their brother, sister, whatever. But we laugh, dude. I mean, Neil, I take these people out like, one guy loves old cars. So we found a great place and we're shooting this like, I mean, this is not a Mickey Mouse operation like your show. I'm kidding. No, this is like a real show. They gave me a real budget. They gave me not a budget, a real crew. And we're out there and we really spend time with these wonderful people. Right. And I'll take them, we'll drive an old car or we'll go to a park or whatever. And we're laughing, like I said, laughing and crying and exchanging information about what it's like to be a caregiver. It's really wonderful.
No, so and you think about caregiving, and that's a great point you make up, is the fact that telling their lives, you're talking about production. Like when we do our podcast and thing, we got maybe one camera, two cameras, you got this whole production crew, you're telling the story, you have all the different bells and whistles that you're used to, when you're as an actor, and be able to tell these stories and stories of caregiving. It's not just about epilepsy, correct? Are you meeting only epilepsy families, or are you meeting other families who are doing caregiving as well?
Well, we're meeting. I got to tell you, like so far, we've covered epilepsy and it's rare diseases, rare conditions, and everything. But it's affecting I get people stopping me all the time that are like, "Thank you for, doing what you're doing. My has cancer. My friend has this, has that. It doesn't matter. Caregivers are caregivers are caregivers. We're all going through the same thing, and we all put ourselves second. And those hobbies or those interests that we loved spending time on, those take a back seat. So what we're doing is we're finding out a little bit of information. We'll talk to the spouse or the partner, whatever, and find out what they love to do. And then we embrace that and we surprise them with a day. Leslie, this wonderful woman, we took her, she loved painting. And so we took her to this art therapist. I didn't even know what that was. And we painted together and we just talked about our families. And then, I played pickleball with someone. And then, like I said, we drove old cars around. It's just a really fun show. And it's relatable show. So you don't have to know anything about the epilepsy community to enjoy it. But if you're in that community, which is millions strong, you're going to get a lot out of it.
No, so and the point you make about caregiving is caregivers go through so much, man, because there's so much of what they have to do on a regular basis. You're a caregiver yourself and you understand this, and that it's a full-time job and you have another job and you have to basically be able to deal with the challenges they're dealing with and be drained and still recharge your batteries. And do you highlight that in the show, the importance? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And you're hitting it on the head. Like, people don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't understand the condition. They don't understand a lot of times what you're going through. When you meet someone else as a caregiver, if you're watching or listening to this right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you're a caregiver, there's a shorthand that we have with each other. When I
Yes.
meet a fellow caregiver, I exhale. We give each other a hug. And by the way, that's another thing, Neil. People they don't let themselves get a pat on the back. I
No.
don't want anybody to tell me I'm doing a great job. I'm a dad. This is what I do. What other choice do I have? And guess what? I've gotten over that because I need that hug and I need someone to go, hey, you're doing good. Or, hey, keep going. Tomorrow's a better day. Or celebrate the little milestones. Like when, like he's doing really well, Jake, but like back in the day when it was like, he didn't have a seizure today. Let's
That's true.
celebrate that.
Yeah.
That's a normal day for other people, but for us, it's a victory.
It's the stress level for parents who are caregivers and then also adults that are caregivers with adults. It's a daily drain. And you have to learn how to recharge your batteries. So Greg, how do you, throughout the show, did it show ways that caregivers can kind of take a respite or understand the feeling of what they're going through when you're meeting them throughout this process?
Yes, 100%. And again, you're not going to find a mirror of your exact situation, right? No one has the same family. They don't have the same child or the same condition or whatever, but you're going to glean a little bit of information from them on, you know what, I wake up a little extra early and I have time to myself. And I'm like, well, I'm not really a morning person. Well, guess what? From Leslie, I've learned to do that. And I wake up and I'll just go outside. It's early. It's just a moment to kind of, I guess people meditate and do whatever. It's that sort of moment when you just have it for yourself. You need those moments. Dude, when you're on a plane, they say, put the mask on yourself before you help others. It's the same thing. If you're not clear-headed or healthy, you can't give your best and your all to the one you love. So I've learned that. I've learned that I'm not a good pickleball player.
Okay. I've not played pickleball. I just heard about it. I ended up in a podcast. I was interviewed. I used to be somebody because I'm a former professional wrestler, Greg, and I basically went through the story and he wrote a book on pickleball for dummies, and I was on his podcast, and that's how I found out about pickleball because I said I had no idea what pickleball is, and he asked me the question. I'm like, and I don't do a lot of guest spots, and I'm like, oh yeah, pickleball. So now I'm understanding, but I still don't get it. So you're at least
right, but I get it, but at the same time, I haven't had time to do that. It's like if somebody say, Neil, let's go golfing. Like, okay, maybe we can do it once. Yeah. I don't have time for that. And so it's multiply that times 100. You don't have time to do those things that you love. On the caregiverseries.com, you will see people actually taking that moment, having that moment, and it's celebrated and it's wonderful. And by the way, I've stayed in contact with all of these people. And that's something that in a community, like once you kind of connect, you don't let each other go. And it's been so wonderful. And there are a bunch of episodes up right now at the caregiverseries.com, but there are more that we're going to be rolling out. And I'm just so proud of this series, man. So
Greg, best place is that website. Any other projects going on you want to promote right now to tell people about?
Wow. Yeah, I've got a little film up for an Academy Award. Check that out. I want to make it a game. So watch the Academy Awards. You'll know what I'm talking about. And then, yeah, my podcast, Talk About It, is out. And I got a new thing on Speed Vision, a car show that I'm doing. But right now, I got to say, my whole heart and everything is poured into the Caregiver. So go to the caregiverseries.com and enjoy the show. And I'd love to hear from you on Twitter or on Instagram. If you follow me, please send me a note, comment. I want to know what you think of the show because it's I get a lot of people coming up to me and say, oh, I saw you on this show or the game show or that whatever. But when I get people that recognize that, the work I'm doing for the epilepsy community and caregivers in general, it's more rewarding than anything.
Well, appreciate it, Greg. Great information and caregiving, as I highlight on my show all the time. So you have to check out my podcast. I have a great co-host who's a caregiver, and he's bringing awareness all over the country. You guys definitely need to meet. So I appreciate it, Greg.
That's great. Please, give him a hug for me, will you please?
I will, Greg.
Tell him I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right. Okay. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.